You can learn whatever you need to study to achieve anything you want. The success secrets of self-made millionaires begins with self-evaluation. Give yourself a score of 1 to 10. If you're weak in any area, it could hold you back. However, if you're strong in all of them, there's no limit to what you can do. The first premise is to dream big dreams. Practice what is called back from the future thinking. Project yourself forward and construct a vision of being happy, healthy, affluent, and successful. Successful people use idealization. They envisage their perfect existence with no limits. Picture having all the time, money, contacts, education, and experience you need. If you could be, have, or do anything, what would it be? If your life were ideal in 5 years, what would it look like? How much would you be earning? What would your family life be like? What kind of car would you drive? What would your health be like? Imagine waving a magic wand and making your life flawless in every aspect. This is the starting point of huge riches and success. One effective practice is to develop a dream list. This is like a child's Christmas list, allowing you to jot down whatever you want. A friend of mine did this and became so thrilled that he filled a spiral notebook with goals. He scanned newspapers and scribbled down anything he liked. The first time he stated 330 goals, and by the end of the month, he had 500. His life transformed. He triggered the law of attraction, and chances, people, and resources started aligning with his aspirations. The second concept is to do what you love. Successful people love their work. The key to success is finding something you love and making a livelihood doing it. When you enjoy your work, it energizes, motivates, and excites you. It's likely something you were supposed to accomplish since childhood. Self-made millionaires often declare, I've never worked a day in my life, I just do what I love. A graduate of my course once told me, as a child, I loved airplanes. I had airplane books, models, and remote-controlled planes. I later studied aeronautical engineering. Now, at 35, I own 3 aviation companies. One builds small aircraft, another services them, and the third leases and charters planes. I've never worked a day in my life. I've just played with planes since childhood. Reflect on what you love to do between ages 7 and 14 before discovering distractions. That enthusiasm frequently holds the key to your success. The third principle is to commit to excellence. This is vital. As a young guy, I suffered since I wasn't inherently good at anything. I was never picked for teams, got low grades, and was dismissed from many jobs. I even got fired from pumping gas because I wasn't good at it. Imagine that. Fired from pumping gas. I went from job to job until I found that all successful people are exceptional at what they do. They want to be in the top 10% of their field. Just like the renowned bank robber Willie Sutton, who said he robbed banks because that's where the money is. Being in the top 10% is where success rests. To get there, you must be willing to pay any price and make any sacrifice. The good news, if you're doing what you love, striving for perfection comes naturally. If you don't want to be the best in your field, you might be in the wrong one. Many people go through the motions at work, never aiming for greatness. This mentality leads to stagnation and insecurity. The crackling sound you hear is the ice breaking beneath your feet. Everyone has the capacity to achieve at something they love. Decide to be in the top 10%. Here's what changed my life. I realized that everyone in the top 10% started in the bottom 10%. Every elite performer was once a beginner. Many didn't even realize their field existed at first. That implies you can get there, too. If you're ready to pay the price, work hard, and make sacrifices, you can reach the top 10%. Now, how long does it take? It doesn't happen in a week or a month. Most people are impatient, yet obtaining mastery in your industry takes 5 to 7 years. You might reply, 5 to 7 years. I'll be that much older before I enjoy the big rewards. But how old will you be in 5 to 7 years anyway? Here's a crucial point. The time will pass anyway. 5 to 7 years from now, those years will have passed. The only question is, will you be at the top of your field, or will you still be among the mediocre 8%? The good thing is that no one is better or smarter than you. If others have reached the top of their field, you can too. Just find out how they got there. Because they started at the bottom. It may take longer for some and less for others. But those who put one foot in front of the other and keep pushing forward eventually get there. And that's where all the benefits are. Beyond rewards, that's where the genuine joy in life resides. When you're outstanding at what you do, you feel wonderful about yourself. You're regarded and esteemed by others around you. You may create your own ticket, unlock any door, and take every chance. Waking up in the morning, knowing you're good at what you do, is more essential than any outward rewards. Next, build your unique talents and abilities. Every person is designed with specific skills that, if properly developed, can help them achieve anything. Everyone is genetically constructed to do something incredibly well, something they enjoy, excel at, and derive enjoyment from. Peter Drucker often are you asked, what should you be good at? What could you be good at? What will you be good at? One key question to ask yourself is, looking back, what has contributed most to your success? Success leaves tracks, and prior triumphs frequently foreshadow your future potential. Remember the man who won $300 million in the lottery. He was a high school physics instructor. When asked what he would do with his earnings, he stated he'd take a week vacation and then return to teaching. He enjoyed his job so much that he didn't want to resign. That's a person in the right place. And now he can merely drive to work in a fancier car. The second element to being a self-made millionaire is to consider oneself as self-employed. The top 3% of adults in society perceive themselves as being in charge of their own lives. When I started my career, I was a 21-year-old construction laborer, poor, living in a one-bedroom apartment, taking buses for hours to get to and from work. One evening, sitting in my tiny kitchen nook, I had a realization: I was accountable for my life. No one was coming to save me. It was one of the greatest turning events of my life. Exceptional people accept complete responsibility. When I ask an audience how many are self-employed, some raise their hands and others don't. But the truth is, everyone is self-employed. The biggest mistake is assuming you work for someone else. Even if someone else signs your paycheck, you ultimately work for yourself. The most valuable employees treat their firm as if they own it. They regard everything as impacting them personally. Unlike individuals who detach from their work, top performers think about ways to improve even when they're off the clock. They take responsibility, earn more, receive greater opportunities, get promoted faster, and ascend to the top of their industries. The top 3% of individuals share this worldview. Another essential to success is creating a clear sense of direction. Successful people are tremendously goal-oriented. There's an old saying, you can't hit a target you can't see. You must know what you want in every area of your life. Years ago, I worked with the Hunt Oil Company in Texas, founded by H.L. Hunt, who became the wealthiest self-made millionaire in the world. At his peak, he owned 200 firms and made $3 million per day in royalties. Before he passed away, a buddy of mine interviewed him on television and inquired about the secrets to success. Hunt remarked, there are only 2 keys to success, and I will tell you what they are. First, decide exactly what you want, write it down, and make a plan to achieve it. Second, determine the price you have to pay and then resolve to pay it. This follows the concept of sowing and reaping. Cause and effect. Effectively, I discovered an extra point. Your current existence today is the product of the decisions you've made up to now. Whatever you put in, you receive out. So, anything you're receiving now is a direct result of what you've contributed. If you don't like your current outcomes, you need to adjust what you're putting in. What I realized is that life is always just in the long term. Therefore, life says this: there is a price you have to pay, and it has two qualities. First, you must pay the price in full for your success, which includes research, preparation, hard effort, and persistence. Second, you must pay the price in advance. You don't earn rewards before making the effort. The way the world works is that first, you put in what is necessary, and then you reap the results. So, you must ask yourself, what is the price you need to pay to obtain the success you desire? Write it down, establish a plan, then work on it every day. Now, let me offer you a little exercise. This is my sole take-home or homework assignment for our time together. Take a piece of paper and write down 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Write the term, goals, and today's date at the top of the page. List 10 goals you'd like to achieve. Then ask yourself this essential question: if you could only accomplish one goal on this list within 24 hours, which goal would have the largest positive influence on your life? This is an excellent question, since the answer generally stands out instantly. You'll recognize that one objective that, if realized, would have the most significant impact on your life. Sometimes it's a money objective, sometimes a health goal, or a relationship goal. Whatever it is, put a circle around it. Then, turn the page over and write it at the top. Set a time frame for the objective. Develop a list of everything you can do to attain it. Then start working on your list. Here's the key. Accomplish something every day that gets you one step closer to your big objective. My pledge to you is that this exercise, choosing your most important goal, establishing a plan, and working on it daily, will improve your life in ways you cannot fathom. People begin to reach greatness when they discover their big specific mission, their number one objective, and pursue it every day. This is the secret to becoming a self-made millionaire. It is the key to enormous success in life. A week, a month, or a year from now, you will look back and be completely astounded at the difference it makes. I was conducting a class not long ago when a gentleman approached me. He said, "That goal-setting exercise changed my life 10 years ago. Back then, I was broke, divorced, and an alcoholic. Someone dragged me to one of your seminars, and I completed the exercise. I selected my major goal, and it changed my life." I asked him how, and he replied, "Today, I'm worth 4 million. I was amazed. He answered, "Wes, and I owe it all to that lesson." Next, refuse to consider the probability of failure. The most amazing thing is that the fear of failure is the largest single hurdle to success in adult life. It is not failure itself that holds individuals back. Every one of us has failed repeatedly. We fail in relationships, employment, professions, and investments. It's not failure that restricts us. Failure makes us smarter. We believe it is the fear of failure, not failure itself, that holds people back. The method to overcome this fear is to never entertain the notion of failing. The rule is simple. There is no such thing as failure. There is simply feedback. When you try something and it doesn't work, you don't fail. You learn. Recognize that most things won't work the first few times. When they don't, you say, "Well, that's an interesting bit of feedback," and move forward. Each failure provides vital feedback, making you smarter and better equipped for the next effort. To become a self-made millionaire, you must fail over and over again for years. But your brain has a cybernetic process that ensures you learn from each failure. With every setback, you receive feedback, making you progressively smarter. Eventually, you reach a point where you stop making mistakes and begin doing more things well. However, you cannot reach this stage without experiencing failure first. Henry Ford famously said, "Failure is merely an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently." Let me offer a terrific rule established from interviews with self-made millionaires. They look for something good in every failure. They feel that each setback includes a significant lesson, and they always discover it. In contrast, failures focus on losses and blame others for their issues. Successful people, on the other hand, ask, "What can I learn from this?" This approach makes them smarter and more resilient. My pledge to you is this: if you actively seek a meaningful lesson in the biggest challenge you are facing today, you will find it. Consider this possibility. Your worst problem today could be the greatest gift you've ever received. It might include the lesson that will lead to your ultimate success. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or who is to blame, hunt for the hidden potential behind the problem. It could revolutionize your life. The second stage is to dedicate oneself to lifelong learning. What leads you from rags to riches is personal and professional development in the 21st century. As Peter Greer argues, knowledge and skill are the keys to the 21st century, and the only skill that will truly matter is the capacity to learn new skills. This is because practically everything you know is becoming obsolete at an accelerated pace. Stephen Covey indicates that your current knowledge base has a half-life of around 2 years, which means that within 2 years, half of what you know will be irrelevant. 2 years after that, half of what's left will also be outmoded. So, if you're not always learning and improving your talents, you're falling behind. As basketball coach Pat Riley says, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. If you're not always learning, you're actually falling behind. Here are 3 keys to constant learning. 1. Read in your field for 30 to 60 minutes each day. This involves turning off the television, the radio, and putting aside the newspaper to focus on reading in your profession. The best locations to read are books, particularly bestsellers authored by the most successful people in your industry. Books provide a wealth of knowledge that can help you work at a much higher level and get greater results. In fact, I've had several people tell me that reading for an hour a day has quadrupled or tripled their income within a year. 2. Take every course you can. There are courses and seminars accessible to you in your industry, many of which have been produced by professionals with years of expertise. These courses are tested and refined over time. When you attend a course, you can learn in a day or 2 what might take years or even a lifetime to master on your own. Some individuals argue they can't afford a course, but in truth, you can't afford not to acquire books or attend these classes. Let me tell you a story. A dentist I know, incredibly successful in his career, retired at the age of 53 after selling his practice for roughly $2 million. He told me that 8 years ago, he had attended a dentistry convention in Hong Kong. While there, he learned a unique cosmetic surgery method that no one else knew. He brought this back to his office, and within a short time, people were flying in from across the globe for his services. 8 years later, he retired as a self-made millionaire. This happened because of the information he gained at that one conference. You never know where the next major breakthrough will come from. 3. Listen to audio programs in your car. The average motorist spends between 500 and 1,000 hours a year on the road. If you utilize this time to listen to educational audio programs, according to the University of Southern California, it's the equivalent of practically full-time university attendance. This simple habit can drastically change your life and speed your learning. Here's something interesting. The more you spend in yourself, reading, studying, updating your skills, the more you'll enjoy and appreciate yourself. The more you'll enhance your energy, establish higher goals, and persist in accomplishing them. You're telling yourself that you have a fantastic future ahead, and it's up to you to maximize your potential. As your self-esteem and self-respect rise, your personal pride will expand, and you'll start to see promotions and greater income in every area of your life. The next element is to cultivate a workaholic mentality in today's world. You often hear individuals talk about taking it easy, balancing life, and relaxing. While there's a time to rest, this approach is not for people who haven't made it yet. Before you've achieved, you're competing with millions of others who desire the same success. To win, you need to work harder, smarter, and longer than the competitors. To do this, adopt what I call the 40+ formula. The notion is that working 40 hours a week will allow you to exist, but not move ahead. The extra hours you put in are investments in your future. Studies reveal that self-made millionaires in America work an average of 59 hours per week, and top executives put in the same amount of effort. So, how many more hours are you working over the regular 40? That's a definite indicator of your future success. You better at your work by doing it consistently. Now, here's my second guideline, and this one will revolutionize your life. You work all the time you work. When you work, don't play. Today, approximately 50% of working time is squandered on idle chat, personal business, family phone calls, internet surfing, reading the news, drinking coffee, having extended lunch breaks, arriving late, and leaving early. Then, during the other 50%, you scurry to catch up since you've wasted so much time. Instead of focusing on high-priority work, you try to clear the tiny things, enabling big projects to pile up like an avalanche, producing tension. You go home worried about undone work, unable to discipline yourself to quit speaking with coworkers. Every time someone walks in, you react automatically, indulging in useless talk. What you must do is work all the time you work. If someone asks, "Got a minute to talk?" say, "Was, but not now. Let's talk after work." "I need to get back to my tasks." You might even joke, "Why don't you go down the hall and wreck someone else's career instead of mine?" Here's a beautiful story about a small girl who asks her mom, "Mommy, why does Daddy always bring his briefcase home and work nights and weekends instead of spending time with us?" Her mom replies, "Well, honey, Daddy can't get all his work done in the workplace, so he has to bring it home." The little girl asks, "Then, why don't they put him in a slower class?" The second element is surrounding oneself with the proper people. This is vital for becoming a self-made millionaire. David McClelland of Harvard examined why some people accomplish immensely in life. He concluded that up to 99% of success is controlled by what he called your reference group. The individuals you associate with at work, home, church, in politics, and socially. Changing your reference group affects your thinking, since we are like chameleons, absorbing the attitudes, mannerisms, dress styles, and speech patterns of people around us. Winners are cheerful, focused, and always learning. If you spend time with them, you'll adopt their perspective. Studies reveal that 85% of happiness or dissatisfaction comes from relationships. Bad connections bring you down. A bad boss diminishes workplace fun. A single bad coworker can throw a shadow over an entire office. The trick is choosing connections carefully, surrounding yourself solely with people you like, respect, and enjoy. Next, be prepared to climb from peak to peak. One element to becoming a self-made millionaire is knowing that life follows cycles and trends, ups and downs. Like climbing a mountain, you must descend into valleys before reaching greater peaks. Successful people take 2 moves ahead while guarding themselves from setbacks. They create cash reserves, put stop-loss orders in the stock market, and analyze risks carefully. Their goal is to ensure setbacks don't erase progress, constantly pushing forward in the long run. Another key attribute is resilience, the ability to bounce again. As I indicated earlier, most things won't work out. My friend Charlie Jones says, you have to bounce, don't break. When setbacks arise, bounce back instead of getting upset. I acquired a strong skill called mental rehearsal, preparing for inevitable challenges in advance. Expect challenges, accept them, and keep going forward. I regularly question audiences. Does anyone here have problems? Everyone says yes. The truth is, life is a never-ending succession of issues. They come like ocean waves, one after another, with rare catastrophes in between. The pattern is problem, 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 crisis, problem, 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 crisis. Everyone is either in a crisis, just getting out of one, or about to enter one. The trick is how you handle them.